Gentlemen, I want you guys to talk to the people you are close to or next to and tell them the name of the strategy and what each of the letters stand for. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to talk to the people around you, the name and what each letter stands for. The strategy we're using. The acronym we had up here yesterday. Tell each other, not me.
Okay. P, it means I think it was
Tristan, you can talk to these girls or those boys.
Talk to them girls.
That's what's starting for us.
They all look at it like these.
See, I told you.
Okay, so I just gave you guys a pretty big hint, but you still need to talk about what each one stands for.
R stands for B for you.
Yes.
I know that for a fact. S stands for someone.
This is the name of the strategy. What does each one stand for?
X. There we go. Got them all down.
Okay.
I didn't drink a water.
He would have missed. That's too much contact.
It's like the salty cracker.
You did. Like this. As soon as I got you. That's not. Oh God. That's not flinching. Flinching is like.
As soon as Tori comes back, we're going to talk about this real quick and then move on.
I swear I did not flinch. See, every time you make up an excuse just to not get hit. No, I said.
No, I thought you know.
Well, I'm not even holding you up.
Yes.
I thought you wanted like the part up there, like not saying out loud.
Oh.
That's what I thought you wanted.
Well, I want you guys to talk about it right now, and then as soon as Tori gets back, we're just going to list them out
the devil.
and go from there. All right. So now you guys have had a couple minutes to think with people around you. Tristan, why am I looking at you right now? Thank you. We're just going to review these real quick, and then I am going to continue with the third paragraph where we left off yesterday. So, Gabriel, what's the P stand for?
Preview.
Tori, preview. Thank you.
I know what A is.
Dom, what's A?
Ask.
Yes.
What you said? Oh, I
You said.
thought you said.
Okay. Hold on.
I know that one. Review.
Chris, what?
Which one y'all said that?
Chris, what's R?
No. It's not. Is it review?
No.
Is it
Emily just said it.
Emily, read.
What the
S.
fuck?
Hold on.
Tell
Jose. I got it. Source.
Yes.
Search.
No.
Jose.
Tristan, go. Yes.
God, you got that from me.
Okay, real quick. P, preview. We're just going to look at the paragraph. We're going to look for important dates or titles or bulleted letters. A is for ask. I'm going to ask myself questions. Why do I need to know this? Why is this person important? What does that mean? R, I'm going to read. I'm going to go through the paragraph and try to answer these questions.
And then you want to go back to the.
This is Cheryl.
And then I'm going to summarize. I'm going to say, okay, what was the point? What did I read? What was the main idea?
Every three.
Okay.
I feel like reading today.
Hold on just a second. Gentlemen,
Do it on our own.
what we're going to do real quick. We are going to review what we read so far. I am going to model number 3, and then you guys are going to practice the rest on your own. When you guys practice, I have a separate paper for you to write down questions and ideas as you go. So, real quick, just like 2 minutes.
Logan, shut up.
Real quick,
Shut up. Don't be talking to you.
stop the hate.
God.
Okay, real quick, what did we learn yesterday when we read?
We learned about
Hold on, I heard something over here. Damien, go.
We learned about carrier birds.
We learned about carrier pigeons. What do they do?
The same messages.
Tori, raise your
They're
hand.
not bears.
Okay.
They're
No.
birds.
Yeah, what he said.
Yes,
It's not bears.
Gabriel was on the right track. We learned about birds that they sent. What did they do, Emily?
They sent messages on the.
Yes,
Hey, dude.
they sent messages with these birds. Okay, gentlemen, sit down. So we learned about carrier pigeons that were used to send messages. Was this reading, did it take place like right now or a long time ago?
18,
Long time ago.
18.
Yes, a very long time ago. Tristan, what?
We learned about carrier pigeons and how they would actually. I don't know how they would actually.
Gentlemen, put it away.
Like, I don't know how they would actually send the messages. Like, I don't know how.
So we had a lot of questions. We said, how do they know where to go?
How do they call the pigeons?
How do they call the pigeons? How do they actually send the message?
How do they know how to bring them back?
Yes, how do they know how to get back?
Can you shut the door? Them kids keep staring at me.
Yes, go ahead. Okay,
Every three.
hold on. Yes, go ahead.
The reason why the carrier bird pigeons are able to carry the messages to us is because they wrote them down on notes, and next they tied it around the bird's legs. Then
Okay.
next the bird flew off to the place and next delivered the message.
How do you even search up like how?
Yes, I know.
Hold on just a second.
My grandfather was actually in the war,
Okay,
so he taught me a lot.
so Damien just gave us a good idea that they wrote, gentlemen, seriously, come on. They would write a message and like tie it to the bird's foot so that it could hold on to it and send it off. But we're still wondering, how did they know where to go? How did they get back where they came from? Okay,
Retarded birds?
just a second.
Are they robot birds?
Hold on. I am going to model one more time for you guys the third paragraph.
I actually know why they actually do that.
Okay, just 1 second, please. I'm going to model the third paragraph. After I model, you guys are going to do this somewhat on your own. I will still check in with you to make sure you're having the right idea and know what to do. After that, when I see that you guys are comfortable, I'm just going to let you work and I'll check it at the end. So I'm going to start with my preview of paragraph 3. So I'm looking at paragraph 3 and I see right away that it's talking about several different countries right here. So I'm going to highlight that because that tells me it's probably something important. It's where it happened at. Line down that there's World War I, World War II.
Yep.
That gives me a time frame. I'm going to highlight that. And then I see some numbers down here. They're talking about how many of something. So I'm going to highlight that because that's important too. Okay, so I've really quick, I previewed, I looked over, found some important stuff. The next thing I'm doing is I'm going to ask a question. I'm going to say, like, why were these countries involved? And then I might ask, World War I, World War II, why did they have to use these pigeons? Why couldn't they use something else?
World War One, there was barely any radios up.
Well, there was radios in World War I. It's just the problem is the connection.
All right. So now my next step, I've previewed, I asked myself some questions. Now I'm just going to read through it and figure out if I can answer those. Most of the time, however, carrier pigeons were used to benefit an entire country, not just one individual. The United States, England, France, Germany, and Italy in both World War I and World War II used carrier pigeons. So I can kind of answer my first question of these countries were involved in the war.
I highlighted the last sentence of the paragraph.
So you highlighted like the conclusion where it wraps it up. Very good. Gentlemen, you need to be following along, please. Not only were the birds often the fastest, most reliable way to send messages, they could also be used to reach soldiers far behind enemy lines, where radios and field telephone lines were useless. So I heard Damien a minute ago say they had to use the birds because the phones and radios didn't have signal. So that's very good. So we can answer another question. Why did they use these? Because they didn't have any other way.
Yeah, back in World War I, we know those radios were working usefully,
Mm-hmm.
but the problem was probably because of the range, or
Right.
they don't have enough equipment or electronics for the battle.
Right.
So they just use pigeons to communicate with one another, or use, called runners, and that's like scouts.
Yep.
Send messages and all that.
Okay, so I'm going to read it on. Since they could be easily released from airplanes or ships, every branch of the armed services used these birds. In World War II, more than 3,000 soldiers and 150 officers were needed to care for and train the tens of thousands of birds in the U.S. Pigeon Service.
That's what I highlighted. The whole thing.
So that gives us a pretty important fact that they had to hire extra people just to train these birds so that they knew what to do.
And the way that they actually trained them was like making them do the exact same thing over and over.
What's weird
Okay.
is that back in World War II, we didn't use birds. We actually used radios and made it more, work.
Yep.
But I don't know, World War II is back then. We couldn't tell if they used birds or not.
See what they're doing.
Through this sheet, we know they, used birds back in World War I, but we can't tell they actually used birds back in World War II because, there weren't
Right.
any birds were talking about World War II, but only World War I.
So my last step would be to summarize. So I can add right here, I'm just going to say the pigeons went to places they otherwise could not reach. And then I also want to say that they had to be trained. These were trained birds.
Yeah.
So now I have my summary. I know what that paragraph talked about. What I'm going to have you guys do now, I'm going to hand you this organizer. I'm going to have you start with the fourth paragraph and try this on your own. Like I said, I will check in with you and kind of see what you're getting for each step. After I see that you guys got it and you're comfortable, I will let you guys do this on your own completely. I'm going to give you guys just a couple minutes to get started, and then we're going to check in with what you know so far. I do know that. Thank you.
Let's do it.
If you guys get stuck and you can't remember the steps, I hung up little posters that tell you what to do. So I know Jose and Logan missed a day. They might forget. So I hung up little posters for you to be able to look. There's one here by Tori, by Eileen, and one up here.
Close your eyes, you won't see nothing.
Chris, sit down, please.
Mama, pencil go.
Whoa, stop it. Paper's right there, dude. Where you left it.
Look at this.
What did you do? Why did you draw something?
Or what?
Are you done with that paragraph that you're supposed to be doing right now?
Here we go.
Get
Finish that first, please.
Oh, dear.
Okay. I am going to go ahead and stop you guys for just a second and ask, when you started to preview the paragraph, what were some things that stood out? When you just looked at the paragraph, Gabriel,
Yes.
sit down, please.
Chris, are you keeping this? How am I supposed to do it right here? It has sanitizers on it.
It's so easy, just sit down.
Okay.